Hi everyone, it's Jen from Mind's Eye, and what we're going to do is the weekly holistic review and what to see is to come. So basically what we see right now, there is a lot to come, but you just can't get it done. And you can't get it done because you're just like out and about and you have to get it through. But basically what you need to do is just, you want to sit and you want to schedule that appointment. But when you actually do it through, and you actually look through it, there's still a lot of regulations. Now, what I see as far as what they have in the medical marijuana is, good. Like there's a lot of things that are set up, and they're being so adherent as much as they can. But I also see, the holistic centers where they go and they're having Reiki and massage and cranial psychotherapy and integrating in the hopes of making these contracts of being with the holistic, which is the bigger healthcare through and through in conjunction. But there's still something to be had that we keep saying, and we just can't understand why. So let's look. What do we need to know building off of what has happened in the last week? So basically, what you need to know is that everything is going through in the way that it needs to, but something is not to be DONE. And when it's not to be DONE, is because other things are on the table as far as business contracts. So then when you go and you say, everyone really followed adherence to all the regulations and universal precautions, and if the DPH maybe came in and did an inspection, or even like public health, they came in to someone who has a Reiki studio and says, here it is, this is how I set everything up, and this is how I sanitize, then it has to be like that. It literally has to be so strict. So let's look at the Lyra Witch's oracle, and let's see what else is there to do. Because, you got this chicken and the egg, and something crossed the road, and you can't even get a DONE. So when we do it this way, we can't even see it through. We can't even see it through. But let's look at the cards. Let's look at the cards. There's something that this community is still healing from, and it's really hard to understand. But when you actually look at everyone who works in this, they're all went through something. They're also healing. So sometimes they're really, really good, and other times, like, they have good days and bad days also. So when I see this, it's like creative venture. When I see wings, then you have to actually look at it. When you see this lantern, it's something that I would say really comes through in like a dark unknown. And historically, when new businesses start, it really has something to do with humanity. So you're using your instinct and your intuition, and you already know it's there. But when you see this snail, it really comes through hard as something that you need to be known. So when I see this and I see wildflowers, I say, it really is offering, but it really is nothing much. There's something of this feeling at times that it's just dishonesty, so which is really, really harsh. They're really hard on this like hard breakout. But reality, something went through in the last 3 years that you can't understand, that it really like took off in the community with CBD, and they went through medical marijuana and herbs and tinctures and naturopathy and homeopathic to all these like alternative methods of healing, and even up through palliative care to like big hospitals, where this news actually is like, for me, when I look at it as intuitively, it really means that it was something hard. So like I'm saying, this is a bit of like a Pete and repeat, but in reality, like everyone's like, in reality, you can't even get the words out. So when you say that, you say, who is actually overpowering to the highest point of none? So these are the conversations that are coming out and that people are hearing. That's kind of a turnoff at this time. So how do you revamp in the next week? I would say listen more, and actually listen intuitively with your clients, with your patients, however you identify with your business. Attune yourself, meaning center yourself and make sure your chakras are all on. And it's normal to have your chakras go on and off depending how well you feel. So when I say it, community, you might actually need to see someone in that community yourself to get realigned and get reattuned. So when I look at it and I say the eye comes in and it knows something, it is the all seeing eye, or maybe it's the evil eye. And you can't even say that because here we are. We got the CIA looking for the Ark of the Covenant. And then you have this whole thing where, you have to check in on Cain. And then you have to go down biblically. When you look at it, what is this book? This book is something else. So let's look at this book here. So as we see these cards, there's a lot of anxiety, and to the point of where some people might actually do a little bit of self-sabotage. So going for it in the holistic community, you must edge in slowly with them. And then when you actually look at this hard, there's a lot of ambition and there's a lot of wandering. So what is true? I feel both stories are correct. So when I actually look at book a little harder, there's some sort of revelation that some people might be a little bit ignorant towards about this community coming in the next week, but all of a sudden become highly devoted to it, highly devoted. It's something that is right there in your subconscious. It's like a part of you, like you've done it before in another lifetime. And you usually get attuned to it when you're alone and you say, you know what, I need to make changes in my life. But lastly, out of this one, rabbit, usually, when I see this rabbit, it really is this. But when it's like hearing frequency and sound, which you could go to sound therapy, it really is. But when I see it, it's waiting and making leaps in adventure. So when you actually are going forward on it, because I do see it as it comes through on this whole click on, and I say, there's still a lot on the table to actually go through it, that you can't even believe how hard it is to say to your doctor, well, maybe I need to incorporate something else. So let's look at another card. What do they need to know? Because even co-ops and farm stands and agriculture is, I truly believe, part of holistic, because it goes to organic and how everything is grown, especially for the person. If they've gone through something, their body is completely different. Completely. Here we go. There is this pause of waiting. There's a good, anticipating waiting. It's not like the best judgment coming in as coming in from the west, but it's not something that was actually you can sit and wait for to complete out a cycle. But once you hear it and say, yep, I'm in on this, absolutely. There's something that still feels like it's a little bit of hidden motives, and that there's some sort of like finality, and I'm seeing actual face-to-face encounter with paperwork that was so illegal that happened towards this community, that they actually had to sit alone and cut away with so much logic when they're more intuitive. So when I see this, the Five of Pentacles, there's something good that comes through. It's going to cause a little bit of disrupt, but I really feel it is truly meant to snuff out something so they can get ahead again. Here we go. Let's do the Starseed Oracle. This one is just very short. As far as everything goes, especially with the weather changes and the patterns in the different states, it really means that you have to sit and look at agriculture really, really hard. When you're going to look at agriculture because you're getting ready for planting, you can't even make it up. You got to be a little bit grounded when you start cultivating. And when you do, you have to say, just there's something about surrendering to the sweetness. I feel like people actually just need to, when they come in and they try to help, like North Carolina, South Carolina, the wildfires and anything devastated through the natural disasters, there's something of a little bit of bitterness and sourness, which is normal after devastation and not getting the relief that they needed to be part of this like whole big like change of holistic community, that there is some like common ground, even with people who are not a farmer. So when I see it and I say hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper, it's like upon a look, everyone sees it and says, yeah, there really is something, really is. So when I actually look at it and you go, you got to integrate everything almost at once when you stir it up. And when you stir it up and you go, you just can't even believe this at all. There's extremes of life. And how would there still be extremes of life? It really is like a wild card that comes in and doors open for more people. So, like I said, for a lot of people, April 1st, yesterday, what I was seeing through astrology, through the constellations, through all the moon patterns and everything, how it was dropping down and how it all plays out in the calendar, whether you do the Julian or the Gregorian, that you have to actually look at it completely and say, everything is on the same path right now, that there was something that ran through that made everyone rancid and ready for war, that it went to, there was a lot more people isolated and they're ready for like summer to get reintegrated and around other people. So when I see this, protection, loyalty, safety, trust, they're actually more safe than what is like that feeling, meaning protecting their businesses. So when I see this, it's just saying, just like, still take your time. And when you take your time, actually look at everything and rest a little longer. There was something not right still after this cold and flu season, because some of us are still, no matter what we're doing, we're waking up and we're still not feeling right. So when I see this, let's actually look at this crystal quartz and then we will call it a night. Like, everything is known right now on what it needs to do, but you have to sit and stay back. This community is like hasty, fragile to get going on everything that it needs to do. But at the same time, be patient with each other and your patients and your clients, because they are going through the same thing too. So with that being said, that's all I have to say. Any questions or concerns, go ahead and leave a comment, a like, a share, an email. It's greatly appreciated, and we will talk to you soon. Have a good night.